You know, we got a great movie out of it, so we got a classic like hell yeah brother cinema out of all of that.
Yeah,
So
I had a great time watching The Dark Knight. So all's fair.
just
See,
like every other teenage boy.
I think in the wake of like the Trump era, though, we're getting some good girly pop movies. So I'm excited about that. Like a Nora, fucking girly pop. Despite being directed by a man, somehow girly pop movie.
I still haven't seen it. I still haven't seen it.
We have talked about that movie more than I think any other podcast has talked about that movie. I think we've talked about it 3 shows in a row.
It sticks with you.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the last person alive to have not seen it at this point.
Maybe, except not, because I think it's been like a weird sleeper in some weird ways. Like most people I know, except for movie people.
I was gonna say movie people, yeah.
It's like Variety or whatever is choosing Wicked to win Best Picture now or whatever that headline was. But most people are like Anora are definitely going to win, but people are also like, what the hell is Anora?
Yeah, I tell my coworkers like, oh yeah, Anora is probably going to win Best Picture. And they're like, what? Like what? The fuck are you talking about?
That is a movie that exists.
It's also a really approachable movie, though. Like it's not like I thought Poor Things was less approachable. For instance, like I think Anora's pretty approachable, and so like I wish it would just get more.
It's more palatable than Poor Things is, but Dex, what's your take? What's your take?
They in there fucking, and it's just. Watching that movie in the theater is what it had to feel like watching porn in the theater back in the day. Because you're just sitting there with a bunch of strangers, and you're like, yeah, they're up there fucking. Like we're just here together enjoying this moment.
In fact, I watched that alone with another grown man in the theater. We were like opposite rows of each other at 2 PM. Real fun
viewing conditions.
Yeah, real fun time at the cinema.
As the director intended.
Anyway, if you hear those voices, that's Kate and Kat. They're back for the first time in what seems to be a year. I wasn't recording when I said that. I think it's been over a year. In fact, it's been so long. Kate moved to Australia and back. Like he's now in like Michigan in the Great White North somewhere. Not to dox you on here, but I'm just saying.
It's a big
welcome back.
Thanks, happy to be back.
Yeah. This week on the One Take Podcast, episode 189, we are doing what seems to be, besides Moana 2, the most popular movie of all time. Wicked, Part 1, or otherwise known on IMDb as Wicked. Because they
lied to everyone.
Yeah, they rope-a-doped you with the Part 1 thing. They Dune Part 1'd it. Anyway, so we decided we would bring on, lovingly, I will call you this, the theater nerds, to talk about Wicked Part 1. Thank y'all for coming on.
Thanks y'all for having us.
And would you describe yourselves, Kat, we'll start with you, as a theater nerd? Dex has called you as much.
Theater nerd parentheses derogatory, but like it's fine. Like I've come to terms with that. I'm at peace now.
So you've not outgrown it, but I will say you've been to enough therapy where it'll like it doesn't bother you as much anymore.
Like no, I'm just like learning to live with it. And it's like fine.
She decided to just make herself comfortable. End of her life instead.
Hold up a chair, got a cup of tea, got wrapped up in a blanket, and then just like didn't get up from that chair ever.
Kate, we had you on for the what was the Andrew Garfield musical?
Oh, Tick Tick Boom.
Yeah, I think we had you on for Tick Tick Boom, and you really went in depth about what that musical was and how it does. So it's really fun to have you on because I'm sure you have some wicked facts and fun figures to tell us about.
I saw the original Broadway cast when I was like 6. Yeah.
Damn.
So near and dear to my heart, this show. But yeah.
Well, let's start.
Maybe less fun facts than Tick Tick Boom, but like
Tick Tick Boom, you had way more. Like you had a thesis on Tick Tick Boom that I didn't know existed.
I think there's more lore there.
Yeah,
like in the first place.
I also, this is not to knock Schwartz, like, but like I do think Larson's potentially a better like artist. So like there's more to talk about. But you know.
Yeah. What
Wicked,
is your go ahead,
Wicked is the play that Kat put me onto, like as the first like actual production I ever went to back when Kat was living in London. She
Yep.
took me to see Wicked on the West End.
With who?
And I don't even fucking remember.
my
Couldn't
God.
tell you.
I think Alice Fern was the alphabet at the time, but I don't remember.
Okay.
The 2018 West End cast of Wicked. Shout out.
Oh, Alice Fern, who has a cameo in the Wicked
I was
movie,
gonna say.
as who is it? She's like someone in Munchkinland, I want to say.
Yeah,
maybe?
I believe so. They put a lot of people in that one Munchkinland scene.
They basically pulled anyone who has touched the West End cast of Wicked before and were like, y'all are in London, just come through.
But shockingly didn't put like Norbert Leo Butz, for instance. Like
I'm holding out hope. I'm holding out hope that he gets his cameo in part 2.
You're holding space for that?
There it is.
Grab
There.
finger.
Spoiler, he's the cowardly lion. Like,
Don't threaten me with a good time.
it would be so brilliant. He's also back on radars right now because he just trash talked Zach Levi.
Yeah,
with,
him and like everybody
Barb
because he's a piece
Manson,
of shit.
Yeah, I hate that guy.
So Wicked Part 1 has made a bajillion dollars at the Cineplex, at your local Cineplex, and it will continue to make a bajillion dollars probably throughout Christmas. It's going to have a really long like theatrical run, I imagine, before they throw this on streaming. They're also going to put out a musical version, sing-along version of it, so the worst people in the world that you know will have the time of their lives in the theater. But all that to say, this is a major success. And we got on here, we meaning Tej and I, and said, man, this looks like a piece of shit. And then it wasn't. So
I don't think we've ever been more wrong.
We were real wrong.
As a podcast.
Wow.
we were
All
loud
of us
and
were
wrong.
Like, all of us were like, oh no, brothers, this trailer looks like it's pretty mid.
Okay.
Adam.
As someone who did like the movie, I will actually say valid.
Thank
Based
you.
on the
Okay.
trailer, valid.
Yeah,
And
we
all
were-
the
like-
weird marketing around this movie. It worked absolutely in reverse. I was being a hater for real.
You didn't like the 500 inescapable brand partnerships. You didn't like the gender reveal macaroni and cheese. Find out if after you microwave it, it'll be pink or green.
What is that?
I didn't
That's a
even know
real
that
thing.
happened.
That was
That's-
a real thing that happened.
I was just annoyed by like the singing iPhone commercials and
Or the
shit.
Target. Like,
The Target, yeah.
I mean, look, we're used to SpawnCon on this podcast. In fact, a lot of it's in your movies. Welcome to Godzilla. Here's a VW commercial. Like it's all over the place. So we've grown past it. Whatever. Just we've all grown into it. Sponsorships are going to happen in your movie. Beer label turned outside. So I just think that bleeding into everything, they were going to try to sell this movie. A run of musicals haven't had a lot of success over the past.
What do you mean? Mean Girls is great. Like,
Yeah.
one of the best
Mm.
movies of all time.
Cats was a cinematic masterpiece.
I think Cats is going to be. My hot take is that Cats is going to be studied for a long,
Oh.
long time.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
yes.
That's what we should send to the aliens to tell us like we're too stupid to kill. Like,
Mhm.
just let us go. Like,
They were here. They saw Cats during the pandemic,
They
just
were
like
"I'm
everybody,
good,
and we're
I'm
out.
good."
Yeah,
These
take me to
guys.
your leader, and it's Jason Derulo. and Kat.
Honestly, I wish our leader was Jason Derulo in Cats.
Oh no, Rum Tugger or whatever his name was, and you're just like, oh, go away. What Scrimble Shanks or whatever is in that movie? Anyway,
Yep. Shanks the railway cat.
a sentence that exists in the real world.
A sentence that exists. Yep.
But also, not to be outdone, Wicked.
hmm.
Some wild names and pronunciations in this
Scandalocious.
scandalocious.
Scandalocious has got to be my favorite
That's my
Wickedism.
I love Hideodious. That's great.
Ooh, yep.
Wicked. I will say this: y'all have a relationship with this musical. It's somehow surpassed me. It's one of my mom's favorite musicals. It's one of my sister's favorite musicals, and I have never once, besides like Popular and Defying Gravity, I haven't heard a single track from this thing or seen nary a Broadway recording of this. And so going into it, again, I am surrounded by animals. I was being a big hater because I didn't know what was going on, and I walked out of it smiling ear to ear. So
Okay, wait. I have an
Hand up.
important question that will continue to frame the rest of the discussion.
Yeah.
So have you since do you know what happens? Like, do we need to stay away from part 2 spoilers? When we talk
my
about
wife,
this?
you know what? I'm too online to not have been spoiled.
Okay,
And my
yep,
wife also
yep.
spoiled it before me because I was like, does so-and-so turn into, you did it? And she was like, shut up, shut up.
To be fair, like some
Okay.
of the dancing spoils it for you, but like not as much as it does on like Broadway.
Well,
Huh.
and even so, I still don't think that you would get there if you had no idea it was
Oh,
happening.
Duh. Steven Schwartz is not like a master of subtlety.
I will say I did not see the stage show despite growing up a theater kid and like obviously like knowing all of the songs, all of like you can't grow up in theater during that era and not be surrounded by it. Like obviously,
And also it
people.
was like in Glee.
And also they know exactly. It was like it managed to kind of transcend like just theater
And
people.
like New Girl, like I know Defying Gravity was like randomly a recurring joke for some reason
Oh,
on that show.
Popular.
I did not know that.
Winston
Yeah.
has a bit about like Popular where he's singing in the car and like has a
Yeah.
car wreck while singing Popular or something. Like that.
Oh,
what?
It's really
okay.
funny.
I'm not even a New Girl fan. I watched like 2 episodes of it like my entire life, and like
And you're
randomly
aware because of
that's
that.
been- yeah, that's like inoculated into my brain somehow.
Well, I
So-
did not see it on stage for the first time, and I managed to stay away from the plot until because I did try to read the book as a kid. You should not let your children read that book. It is filthy. I was not ready as like I was a very sheltered kid growing up, but like 11, 12, I was not ready to be reading that many wild ass sex scenes describing like green. Yeah, we don't need to
That
get.
was also
We
like
don't need to go there. We don't need to go
I
there.
think he's blue in the book, and I remember like reading
Yes,
it
or purple. Purple, maybe?
purple.
Someone's
And I remember
purple.
being like, why is
Because
everyone
there
freaking
was
the fuck
purple
out?
genitalia described at some point. I think that's where they lost me as a child. I was like, I can't keep reading this. I
Oh.
was smart.
Going like, why did they freak out? But the fact she's green. Everyone
But because of never having read it, I did not actually see the stage show until it toured through Houston when I was probably, I think it was the summer after my freshman year in college, actually. So like quite late. And I had managed to stay away from every single plot point. So I was there, a full grown, like, practically adult. And my mind was being like blown around every turn with every reveal. And I was like,
oh.
it should have been so obvious to me this whole time.
My wife
and
told
yet
me
it was not.
Yeah, my wife told me something about the ruby slippers and the reason that they're silver and the Technicolor and all this stuff and like why the ruby slippers are it dating all the way back to Wizard of Oz, and I was like, oh, like just driving around, I felt like an idiot. I was just like, oh, okay, that's really like anyway. We're this far in, but I should probably tell you the plot of Wicked if you're
No.
uninformed. Not y'all, the people listening to whatever this is. Wicked is actually PG. Again, one of the few PGs. We've done a couple PG movies on this podcast over the last couple of weeks. Conclave being another one of them, which is shocking. 8.1 on IMDb, the first-ranked popularity movie. This is another thing. Going to be part of my review. 2 hours, 40 minutes. What are we doing? Guys, what are we doing? Let's be serious for a
You
second.
definitely feel it. I was having a great time, but it was like, oh, we're not done. We're still cooking.
Let's be so for real. And in fact, that is with an intermission, I believe, as long as the actual stage play.
Longer, slightly
Long-
longer.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Grow up. I'm asking my directors to grow up.
It really like makes you realize like how much of a clip the stage show moves at though. And it's like famously act 2, like the show kind of falls apart a little bit because there is just so much like lore from like the story, like the actual original book and everything that they kind of have to cut out to try to keep it at this like kind of 2.5-ish hours length that would be like, still your kids are still like enthralled and sitting in their seats and not like screaming to go home kind of length. And so because of that, there's just a lot of wild shit that goes down in Act 2 that has like no like founding, no, or
Yeah.
not no founding, but like that just doesn't have the right context. I think it makes it a little bit more like confusing. There's some leaps that happen, and so I'm hoping that that gets fixed with the longer like run times. But Act 1 is not normally what people call out as the like part of the show that needs a bit more like padding out. So,
Yeah.
but
like,
that being said, I wasn't mad about it. I thought I would hate it more than I did, and I ended up being like okay with the
I
run.
will say though, I hope Act 2 is super long, and I also think it like spoiler. Can I spoil something that does in Act 2? That like
Why
I
not?
okay.
Spoiler alert!
So
Turn this off.
Nessa Rose enslaves the Munchkins.
Important plot point, yes.
And like I really want that to be incredibly drawn out. Like I want us to see her rise to like totalitarian like
Because like, and this is one of those things that like in the stage show is like kind of not really developed for the sake of time, is that it's almost a throwaway line in the stage show. Like you get like maybe half a scene of exposition explaining, oh, by the way, this is what's happened since. Nessa is losing her goddamn mind and power tripping over here. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Also, like she does it though not for power. She does it so Buck doesn't leave her. And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
Somehow the Munchkins were enslaved. Wicked. 2024 movie, 2 hours, 40 minutes long, PG. Elphaba, a misunderstood young woman because of her green skin, and Glinda, a popular girl, becomes friends at Shiz University in the land of Oz. After an encounter with the wonderful Wizard of Oz, their friendship reaches a crossroads. Directed by John M. Chu, written by Winnie Halsman, Dana Fox, and I believe it's based on a book by Gregory Maguire. Winnie Halsman wrote the book for the musical, I believe. Stars Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande, Jeff Goldblum, Michelle Yeoh, Jonathan Bailey, Marissa Bodie, Peter Dinklage, and Ethan Slater jump scare.
He's
Multiple
good at it.
Ethan Slater jumps. Okay, the funny thing is though, like every single time he popped back up on the screen again, I was like, I forgot he was in there.
The first time he showed up, I was like, oh, this is where they met. I forgot. Like I had forgotten.
I think we would all like to forget.
But the problem is he's so perfect for this
No, he
role,
is.
though.
Absolutely.
And also, I like how everyone's rediscovering, because I remember in middle school, we all used to make fun of that line that's like,
Nessa?
no, not
Nessa?
that one. The one where she's like, we deserve each other, me and Buck.
Fuck. Have you seen all the remixes that people are making with that?
Ah!
So good.
So
Fuck.
It's so bad and so good.
Listen, Nessa. What? Nessa.
Oh my god.
Like,
Okay, for you specifically, I'm so mad. I forgot. I meant to send it to you, but I saw a meme where someone did the truck line with Julianne Moore in the Jared.
Oh my
Evans
God.
movie, but they made it Buck.
you saw that truck.
That Buck.
That Buck.
Oh my god. Do we want to
Oh.
play? Do we want to play guess the box office real quick? On a $150 million budget, what do we think this has made worldwide so far?
Do we have a pet monkey?
That was my dog and a squeaker toy.
I'm going to guess 550.
I have not been paying attention to the global numbers, so I'm gonna go 638.
Ooh.
I have actually no capacity to understand like money in box office. And so I'm gonna throw a number out.
Okay, it's normally in the millions of
I
money.
got that part.
If you're lucky, if you're lucky, you've covered the cost
Yeah.
of making your movie.
I know this was super expensive, so I am curious, like in terms of recoup there. But like
Super
don't know.
expensive, but honestly, not as expensive as I would think that it would
Not
be,
as
considering
expensive as
how
it
much of it was practical, which we can get into later.
It's no
That's
red
what I
one.
was gonna say, not expensive as it like it should have been more expensive, honest to God.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'll say, what'd you say, Kat? I'll go under you.
I said 638? 638?
Sure.
Yeah.
I'll be and Dex, what'd you say?
550.
I'll say 600 flat.
Okay, well, the price would be right for Dex. It's made as by the time of this recording, $455 million.
Okay.
Things kind of it was like breaking box office records for musicals. I think the biggest opening for a musical ever, so on and so forth. It combined with Moana, combined with Gladiator 2,
Safe
combined,
movies.
yeah, went for the largest Thanksgiving box office on record, which was crazy. But Moana 2 steamrolled everything. Moana 2 made $220 million at the box office, and
Which
people
is
say
insane
that
because no one even likes it.
yeah, people said that
Right.
movie stinks, so that's fun and good.
Yeah,
Let's
I'm
see.
waiting for Disney Plus for that one.
Exactly. 89% on Rotten Tomatoes, 96% audience score. Let's see. Defying Gravity, with its magical pairing of Cynthia Erivo and Ariana Grande, Wicked Sheer, Bravura, and Charm make for an irresistible invitation to Oz. So
I'm starting to hate Rotten Tomatoes.
you always had what has changed?
The summaries have gotten so much worse to me. Like, every single one of them, I'm like, ugh.
They're all AI
I
generated.
was literally about to say.
So let's start with Kat. Let's start with you. We've already talked about it at length, I feel like, but what did you think about the movie? And if you have a letter grade, let us know.
Yeah, okay. I mean, it should come as no surprise. I gave it an A. There are some nitpicks that I have with it, but at the end of the day, it was like, and Kate and I have spoken about this a little bit. It's like the source material is so strong that it's like even it's like pizza, right? Like when it's good, it's excellent, and even when it's bad, it's still pretty good. So it's like there was no world in which I was going to come away like truly hating this movie, I don't think, unless they really managed to fumble the bag. But like just I have such an appreciation for like the practical effects and production of it all. The cast was great. Like, again, I have my nitpicks here and there. We can get into it later. It was magical. I cried, obviously. And I had a grand old time seeing it. So, hey.
Did you sing in the theater?
No, God, no.
Okay,
Thank you.
God.
Thank you for your service.
The only person in the theater who was singing a little bit was like there was next to me like not an old couple, but like older, like maybe like in their 50s, and like the guy, when Defying Gravity starts, he like goes like to his wife next to him and is like, "Oh, this song," and then he like leans forward like he is like locked in. He was like like leaning on his like knees, like leaning into it, and then he starts singing along to it like a little bit. He's like. And I'm like, you know what? That's you. You are who is allowed to sing along in the theater. Like, that is correct. Absolutely nobody else.
Look, it's not performative. Like, he's just in it. Like, every other person.
Feeling it.
Like,
something has changed. And he's just like, oh, yeah.
That's
That's
like, yeah.
It's like it is like the video game Lean In meme.
Yes,
when you're
exactly.
trying to, it's just like locking in. Kate, what did you think of it?
Okay, maybe divisive. So like when I first saw it, I like cried and like genuinely like the time felt like nothing. Like I didn't even really realize it was 3 hours long until like later. So like I was vibing. I was like ready. I was like, wow, we're having like the animals have like a union meeting. Like this is like this is exciting. I also like they really drill hard on the fascism in a way that the musical does, but not maybe with as heavy of a hand. So I was really enjoying that. I will say when I came down, like when I found gravity again.
No. When you held a little too much space for it.
When I really started like thinking about choices that were made, I realized like whoever did the music direction is like my arch nemesis. And because I think they took two very talented people and let them have too much control. And like I think there should have been some reining back on choices. But I think like otherwise and we can get into that more later because I think Kat actually agrees with me on a lot of that. But like I thought it was really great. I'm glad Cynthia Erivo, as much as she is a problem in some ways,
She's a menace, and I love her for it.
Is a problem.
She's got some opinions about some things.
Yeah.
And I honestly just refuse to hear them. I know.
Here's the thing,
none of my
right?
business.
She's too talented for me to care that much. Like, and there are not many people I feel that way about where I'm like, girl, you're a fucking mess, but like,
But like, okay.
you're probably one of the best vocalists of our generation, so I'm gonna like sit and take it. I listen to her version of Alfie constantly. She's so talented. Ariana did way better than I thought she was going to do.
To me, unbelievably.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Anyway, I'll talk about her more. But, yeah.
But like I thought Jonathan Bailey's the standout for me, ironically. Like I think he was born for that role in a way that like I maybe knew was coming, but like wasn't ready for. But I think like realistically, like somewhere in between an A and an A minus. So like I don't know where in there. But like the more time I took away from it, the more I leaned A minus. But coming out of the theater, it was an A. I don't know if that means anything.
Well, look, I'll say this. This movie got bumped up 2 points for me in either direction because you are left with the defining song of the movie.
Yeah.
And that's how musicals work. I get it most of the time. But it is like, it's not Singing in the Rain where the big hit number is in the middle of the movie or whatever. Yeah. It's like, hey, here's the end of our movie. Let's hear the best vocalist in movies belt one out and try not to feel something as this fades to black. It's almost a cheat code.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100% a cheat code.
Yeah. So
it is emotional manipulation.
It's so fucking hard. Like you're just sitting there like, oh, this is the best song of all time. To be continued. And well, like I'm gonna be right back here in a year.
And like John Chu gets spectacle. That's the thing like you can never take from him. Like he gets big and he gets in your face. And I think like that's exactly like he knew like to split it in half because you get a winner of a movie just for having defying fucking gravity at the end. And like No One Mourns the Wicked was a solid opening too. Like he knows how to like I have my complaints about that song, but like very, very strong in terms of like just like engaging you immediately. And like yeah.
John M. Chu. We should note John M. Chu, the director of such hits as Step Up 2, The Streets.
Importantly.
Start there.
Step Up 3D.
Stop.
And Justin Bieber's Never Say Never.
Yeah, nothing else.
What an incredible...
Famously nothing else.
Famously nothing else, not, Crazy Rich Asians or
and
In the Heights.
Not In the Heights.
Yeah.
No.
Stuff like that, stuff that is like defined a generation with Crazy Rich Asians and whatnot. But do me a favor, Wicked to the Streets. Like we
need it.
Come on,
please.
Market
I feel like we might be the podcast that like mentions Step Up to the Streets the most, just because every sequel that comes out, we mention Step Up to the Streets. Yeah. So like you just have to do us a solid. John,
somebody make that. I just need somebody to make the poster and I'll be okay with it. But I mean, if we got a little bit of a little head nod from John M. Chu that he needs to do a Wicked to the Streets.
Yeah. Anyway. I would also take Wickeds. That would be great.
Wickeds.
Yeah.
Wicked-er.
Austin.
All
right. Dex, you were right.
Yeah, y'all had me a little nervous, I'm not gonna lie, you and Teej, because seeing every screenshot on Twitter from the trailer and like the weird backlighting and like everything being, like,
we're gonna have a whole tangent about that backlighting.
Like I was like, I don't know. They might have been unserious people making this. I don't know,
Jim. I don't know.
Like they might have just not known what the fuck they were doing. They might have just said, "Hey, it's Wicked. We're gonna make it," and then they might have cheaped out. I don't know. But then getting in there and lock it in with all the theater loving folks on opening night for this movie, it was just fucking fantastic from start to finish for me. There's some things, especially on rewatch, that I'm kind of like, we could have done without that. I didn't need as much like Animal Holocaust as we got.
That's my favorite part.
Big Orwell guy, you.
Yeah, I'm like, I could I get it and I respect it, but like we didn't need as much of this as we got. Also, poor Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh fighting for their lives.
I know. They tried.
Oh, my goodness. You poor babies.
They did. At least they had them sing, talk, and they didn't do the Russell Crowe. You got to belt it out, brother. You got to try.
They
he did an honorable job trying to mask his voice, despite the fact that he has one of the most recognizable.
I will say this: I'm taking points off because it's like the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and it's just Jeff Goldblum face like all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like that's Jeff Goldblum's face. Like, what are we talking about?
I mean, Jeff Goldblum, an attractive man for sure, but like, we're building a society around him? I don't know. Like,
To the point, though.
but yeah, those like small things aside, I thought this movie was delightful. I also cried, teared up, got emotional, etc., etc. Cynthia Erivo did an incredible job as Elphaba. I think I was a Cynthia Erivo truther there for a little bit, being like, is she really that good? Like, at movies, I don't know if she is, but yeah, she is. I can no longer deny it. And then Ariana Grande, I forgot that she's a comedic genius, and that she's like one of the funniest people to live. So yeah, I was just pretty much every line read that she did was hilarious, which like is also true of the stage play. Like, and anytime you see Kristen Chenoweth like do anything Glinda related, it's funny. And Ariana Grande did not fumble the bag there. She is also hilarious and she can sing, and I loved all their scenes. The choreo in this, I really enjoyed. Like, even like at the very beginning of the movie when they're all like doing like the shoulders and like shimming and shit. And No One Mourns the Wicked. It's awesome. The like library wheel things.
Which we are definitely going to have a whole discussion about the library wheel.
I've been humming. I can't stop.
Welcome to theater, kids of your
circa 20. Yeah.
It's so fucking good.
It was that and song Rent. Like,
yep.
I loved What Is This Feeling? The way they shot that. I loved that. I like when musicals feel fucking big. Musicals should feel big. It shouldn't be Mean Girls where it's like they're filming this in a closet. You know?
On an iPhone. Sometimes literally.
A TikTok montage.
Yeah, I don't like. I want
like
musicals.
Meg Thee Stallion was there, so it's okay.
So it's fine.
The best actor in Mean Girls. Like,
low key. But yeah, I like that they let this be a big movie musical without being like embarrassed about that, like we've seen other musicals do recently. And I thought it all came together beautifully, and I can't wait for part 2. I will be there probably 7 times. So I gave it an A. It rules.
Now, I wanted to posit this because I thought, to me, that Ariana Grande was my favorite part of the movie. I thought that she was hilarious. Of course, she nails everything vocally. She's one of the few all pop stars can sing, but she's one of the few true blue pop stars that like I understand have range. And I don't want anybody to get mad at me, but can you imagine if Taylor Swift was like in this role or something? Like,
oh boy.
No, I'm sorry. Who could who could argue that?
Or name a pop star. She's the most famous one besides Beyonce or whatever. But like, Ariana Grande has that kind of range that I'm just like, oh yeah, especially when she hits the note in like No One Mourns the Wicked or whatever, and it's the highest thing that I've ever heard in my entire life. And I don't know, I think she's incredible, but I wanted to posit this: is she doing anything original for those that know the musical, or is she doing a Chenoweth impression? Which
I love it. I love this question.
It doesn't matter because it ends up working for me, and I've never seen the stage musical, so I don't know. I know Chenoweth's mannerisms because she's been around forever. But like my whole thing with this is that I think she was the perfect energy for what movie she was in. Cynthia Erivo, while excellent and probably is going to get nominated for Best Actress, is like really serious. Like this is a really serious movie for her, and that's maybe the character a little bit, but this was Ariana Grande's movie for me personally. Jonathan Bailey was great. Again, Ethan Slater jump scare, but he was really good. And I just think that I think that all the cast is pitch perfect. John M. Chu knows exactly what he wants to do with the camera, with the blocking, with the dance numbers and how big it is, Dex, like you said, all of the sets being real and lived in, albeit surrounded by blue screen. look good. The problem with this movie, why does it look like that?
Yep.
Why does it look like that? What did nobody watch this movie? Did no one watch it? Like before, it's like, let's turn that brightness down a little bit. You can't see anything, guys, in the library. Anyway, and it's also like it is colorful, but desaturated. So I don't know what is going on with the color imbalance there. Somebody did a color correction on the like trailer when it first came out. Looked way better. I don't know what's going on there. John Chu said that while Wizard of Oz is a dream in Dorothy's imagination, they wanted Oz here to be a real place, and that feels stupid.
Agree.
So, like, Oz isn't a real place. There's talking animals. What are we talking about, John?
What are we doing here?
I don't. Anyway, this reframes the Wizard of Oz in a way that I wasn't really prepared for because, again, I hadn't seen the musical, and then to like reframe it, and I'm sure the second part will do even more of that.
Yes.
Is like kind of hard. It doesn't ruin the movie, but it is kind of hard for you to reckon with in real time, and I'm still kind of like,
interesting.
what is that? What is happening here? Because it's like, okay, so the Wicked Witch of the West in the movie that I grew up with for like 30 years of my life, literally from the time I was born, that movie was around, to now is like, she's not a villain. What is happening?
I think it's more complicated than that.
Yeah, and I guess that's the whole point, like the 2D characters and things like that. But
because hot take, I don't think Elphaba's. I think Glinda's right. Like, you've hurt your cause forever. Like, fundamentally, like Elphaba has fucked it all up, and like that is like, I think, a massive theme throughout, where it's like she's not a bad person, but she's an incredibly, in some ways, misguided.
Yeah, and so. Look, I will have to see the second one. It is kind of a weird, like if you've never seen the full musical and then you go, oh, I'll go watch the Wizard of Oz thing. And there's like 3 of me and a million other people that have seen it. So it's like, I'll go see the Wizard of Oz thing. And you're like, wait, what the fuck is this? So like, I don't know. I think the music is great. I think the fact that they say that they did 90% of the singing on camera is insane. I don't know how you managed to do that, especially the featurette where Cynthia Erivo's literally spinning around like Pink and like and hitting all those notes. It's crazy. So I would be shocked if they didn't go back and do dubbing and stuff like that. But all that to say, everything in the stew here is really good. I'm never like I'll take this from Dex. I don't know when I'm not going to see a movie that isn't about the election anymore.
Yeah, every movie now is about the election, like whether they want to or not. It just is that way.
Yeah,
and yeah, that definitely like comes through here. But then yeah, it's like it's not their fault that like the election just happened. They made this movie already.
It was also just already a musical about fascism, so like genuinely hard to be like, don't think about the fascist in the room.
It's a Bush administration text. I get that, but I'm just saying, like, I'm just saying, like, well,
it's every movie from here on out. It's about the election. Just you'll never escape it, which is fine. Like it's good versus evil.
I mean, they're like animals need to be in cages, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Whoa, brother.
Also, I didn't realize, like, I knew that Wicked was a book. I didn't realize just some guy decided to he was going to write a prequel to The Wizard of Oz. He was like, yeah, I can do that.
Also, in the book, like, just worth saying, like, Elphaba's like a domestic terrorist. Like, it is worth like noting, like, it's not like they like don't include a lot of this in the musical, but she is like truly like IRA, like car bomb, like style, like terror. And I think if that helps right in, I think it makes a little bit more sense on like how can you characterize someone as evil when they're doing inherently good things, but like that difficulty of like revolution and like the pain of like one man's terrorist is another person's like hero
savior. Yeah, I get it. Like, wasn't there weird credits with like if they wanted to credit this guy for the book when they were writing the musical, and like and then he like had to like really maybe force legal action to get them to credit him for this book, because they're like, oh, it's actually based off of a reframing of the Wizard of Oz, but he's like, I wrote that, so it's like
he's like, it's my reframing. That sounds right.
That's ringing bells.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I didn't know you could just do that. You could just be like, I am writing a prequel to the Wizard of Oz. Like, me, random guy who just wants to write a cool story.
Okay, so it is a loose adaptation of the Gregory Maguire novel Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West,
Very loose.
which in turn is based on L. Frank Baum's 1900 novel, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, and the film adaptation. So I'll have to look into this further. I thought there was like some weird right stuff where they were like, hey, I wrote that. And you're like, oh, you wrote The Wizard of Oz? No, the thing that you're doing the musical over. Anyway, I wanted to say, Kat, talk about, can we talk about, I guess everybody wants us to talk about the library scene and everything else. You seem to have some takes that you want to get off your chest.
The library scene, Dancing Through Life is my Roman Empire. I have been on the Jonathan Bailey hype train for years because I briefly worked on marketing for one of the shows that he did in the West End a few years ago, and so he's so charming. He's so charming. I unfortunately never got to work directly with him, but everybody on my team who did was always like, oh no, and he's so lovely. He's just easy to work with, so kind, so friendly and stuff. So it's oh, he's hot and he's just a wonderful person. Great. And so the second he was announced, I knew he would be perfect. I knew he would capture the hearts of everybody who saw it. If only we could see how incredible the scene looks. And it wasn't so goddamn backlit by that giant window. And normally I'm if I don't understand or don't agree with a certain production choice or something, I love to watch all the, interviews and listen to what they say about their choices. And maybe even if I don't agree with it by the end, I can kind of come around to be oh, I at least understand this choice, or I understand that this was actually a limitation and a restriction because of whatever. Listening to their talking about the lighting and them genuinely I don't know if they're just Delulu or they've drunk their own Kool-Aid or what it is, but it's listening to I don't remember her name, the ASC who she's been doing a lot of press stuff for them, and John Chu doing their scene breakdown and just talking about it's just so beautiful with the natural sunlight coming in through the window. I'm are we watching the same movie? I'm truly not sure. I don't think we are, because
Unreal.
It is insane to me that you would go to all the effort to make that entire the drums, the with the rotations, the ladders, that entire scene is practical. Every single thing, that crazy shot they do with the parkour guy inside the thing, doing the running and the flip over, and then it it's all it's all real. It's so cool, and you can only do it 4 times.
I was if I do it more, I'll die.
There's union shit, yeah. And so it's you only have 4 chances to nail it, and you know what? They did, and the whole number is just incredible, and that's already was one of my favorite numbers in the show, if not my favorite number in the show. And so I knew it would be, or I hoped that it would be really great based on some of the quick little clips that I saw, but I was oh, but surely these clips that are being leaked online are it's the unfinished product. So when we see the actual movie, it won't have this weird backlit desaturated look to it, surely. And then seeing it in the theater, I was But you know what? Jonathan Bailey fucking legs through the ladder, hanging upside down and singing. I'm it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It still looks phenomenal because of him, because of the dancers. They all were working their butts off, and it was one of the coolest musical movie moments, I think, ever, frankly.
I have very small disappointments about Dancing Through Life that are tiny and nitpicky, but I'm sure you'll agree with me.
All of my nitpicks come after the library scene, I will say, because I have some serious nitpicks after they leave the library.
I have one nitpick with library, which is we lost the line, what's the most swankified
place in town? And you know why we had to lose what's the most swankified place in town? Because they rolled up to Ozda's Ballroom and it's a dive bar. That is one of my biggest qualms. And I am almost certain that it's got to be due to like just them running out of money because like there is no other explanation for why. Like that
It's
was
a
one thing
dive
I
bar.
was like thinking, oh, the reason that they have not shown us the Ozdust Ballroom yet is because it's going to be like insane. Like it's going to be like Dolly coming down the steps into Harmonia Gardens level, like big. It's going to be huge. It's going to be opulent. And like in the
It's
musical,
gonna be
it's
Crazy
just,
Rich
like,
Asians
it's
wedding.
going to be Crazy Rich Asians wedding level. Exactly. I was like, oh, John Chu's going to deliver because if there's one thing he does, it's big, as we have all discussed. And so I was like,
And it
it's
was a
going to be
weird
crazy.
speakeasy.
And then it's just like, yeah, it's like a speakeasy. Like those floors were probably sticky. And I'm
It was the Yule
What?
Ball from Harry Potter.
like, honestly, the Yule Ball
Uh-huh.
is probably like fancier than this
Yeah.
place.
I think
like,
so.
It
We
was your high school spring fling, not prom. Like,
No, not prom. Yeah.
yeah, spring
True.
fling.
We also lost some of the beautifully stupid choreography that comes from like the actual show, in that like the stupid acting like a scarecrow for half of Dancing Through Life.
Also, importantly, we miss the Fiero costume, and I do miss the white pants. But you know what? It's okay
I
because
kind of buy
you know what?
this
I
for-
still loved. I still loved all of it. I loved I loved Mr. Taswell's like visions for all of the costumes. So I'm like fine with it.
I was
My
gonna say
good
actually,
personal friend.
Your bestie Paul Taswell.
My go ahead.
no, sorry, you go.
If you can't see me, it's because my 2013 MacBook Pro is going to catch on fire anytime soon, and for some reason, it's done this twice in a row where Google Chrome has run out of memory somehow, and it shuts off my camera. So I'm still here. We're just going to have to do radio like the old days where you couldn't see it. Like our forefathers again. So I wanted to say my favorite Letterboxd review of this was that I love that Jonathan Bailey didn't even try to play Fiero like a straight man.
Yes, as he, no good Fieros on Broadway have ever been straight men.
No, I
Which,
mean,
yeah,
they like are in practice sometimes. Like I guess like
they
like,
are on paper.
isn't, like Aaron Spate technically straight. Like
Yeah, technically, yeah.
but, like I don't
But
think
it's like they're all theater guys at the end of the day. So even when they're straight, they're a little, you know.
There are no straight characters in this movie at all.
Yeah,
Not a single
No
one.
straight characters played by no straight actors.
yeah.
Which
No.
is why Ariana Grande and Ethan Slater makes it, because it's like, oh, of course, like the straight people. It's so just like being in high school theater.
The
like,
two
of
straight
course, the
people
two
found
straight
each
people-
other.
Yes.
Yeah. I will say I don't know. I don't want to harp too much on, because it really is my only drawback of the movie is like how desaturated and stuff like Shiz is. But like I can't take away too much of it because I had a good time with the rest of it. This is where I like balked at like halfway through the movie, and I get that it's probably supposed to be a super emotional moment, and for some it may be, and especially if you've seen the musical, but the interpretive black box theater dance that they did at the Ozdust Ball after they apologized to each other, where they had to mirror each other's accents, mirror each other's movements. That I did that theater warm up in one act play. What are we doing here? What are we doing? What is that? What's going on, guys?
it was awful long.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like the little wave that they do on the train though after.
Yeah, that's
Very
so
cute.
This movie is 2 hours and 40 minutes, guys. We got to get moving. Let's get the ball rolling here.
I definitely agree that I was like, because obviously that moment is in the stage show. They have their little like mirror dancing, but it does not drag on that long.
That's what I was
And
gonna
was
say.
like, we could cut at least 30 seconds, like
Well,
from each cut.
like 10 minutes, because I feel like no, I'm because also like the longer you go and the more you're like, no, this is weird, and
You're like, oh no, like I'm feeling the secondhand cringe right now.
no, you're not, like just everyone should just go home, like now everything's strange. Like
Yeah.
Kill the vibe.
I also like. I'm wondering, all these like loser ass kids are just copying this dance now, but then Glenda Elphaba just leave. So
Yeah.
now they're just like doing this for no reason.
That's the part of the movie that's a commentary on TikTok.
It's like we all learned this stupid dance, and now
Cool
they're not
kids-
even here to be impressed by us. So
Have y'all seen A Knight's Tale, the hit 2001 comedy action A Knight's Tale?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Do you remember in that movie where they didn't know how to dance, or he didn't know how to dance, and she comes and saves him with whatever dance that he's doing? And that's what it felt like in that movie, where they make up a dance on the spot. I was like, they did A Knight's Tale in the middle of this. That's how my movie brain works. Anyway, what else? What else from this movie, guys? Help me out here. What do y'all want to talk about? What do y'all want to talk about?
I have many complaints about actually Ariana Grande's vocals, but like, which is ironic to say, like, because she is a very strong vocalist. So I'm not trying to be like a jerk, but I think also talking about the like Chenoweth-isms, I think is.
I wanted to talk about that. That's why I brought it
Yeah,
up.
that's a
What do
very
you-
interesting question that I like a lot. Let's talk about that one.
Yeah, okay, so y'all take it and run with it from there. What's the scoop on how much this is an impression versus her own thing?
Okay. Okay, so like Ariana is definitely an impressionist. Like I think that's part of like a lot of her as like a comedian too. I also agree, probably one of the funniest people like working right now. Like she every time she's on SNL, I'm like, you could actually just do SNL. I think
You're
like,
doing better than the actual cast, and it's not a great
that
look for them.
Domingo song has been in my head for however long it's been out.
I forget that guy's name, the actor. What's his name? He's so hot.
I know. I
Came all
love-
this
I-
way. Had to explain.
But whatever. But like no, she's like genuinely very funny. And like, but I think she has been my understanding of her relationship with Wicked is that she watched it when she was very young as well. She randomly knew Kristen Chenoweth when she was like a young kid and seeing Wicked. I don't know if she was on 13 or in prep for 13 at the time, and that's how she knows Kristen Chenoweth. I don't know the deal there.
Is Ariana Grande a nepo baby?
I don't
Isn't everyone?
I don't know if she really is.
I don't think it's like performance, but I think it's something like in the industry generally speaking, but
She
not
was-
like an actor or anything.
She was off Broadway because 13 never made it onto Broadway. I don't think. I don't remember if it did.
Wait,
She was
no,
off.
no. I think it was on Broadway.
Okay. Regardless, she was maybe on Broadway with 13 the musical. I think it would have been only a few years
Broadway,
after
Jacobs.
Wicked debuted. It would have been only a few years after. So I'm wondering if there was some connection there. It doesn't matter. But the point is, like, she's known Kristen Chenoweth for a very long time. I think she's a major role model for Kristen Chenoweth. Like, not for Kristen Chenoweth. I don't think Kristen Chenoweth looks up to Ariana Grande.
I mean, she might. Hey, fair enough.
She's very short. But, like, anyway, like there were a lot of things where I was like, she could have gone farther, actually, I think. And the voice is very much playing with like what Kristen was doing specifically. The transatlantic is not always a go-to for Galinda's. Like it happens, but I wouldn't say it's like Megan Hilty, if I remember correctly, didn't do one. Ali Mazzy, I don't believe did one. But also her voice is just silly as is. So like, why do anything? But Mazzy, but like, I don't know. I also think vocally, like she didn't have the training Kristen has, and that made it actually harder to do some of the stuff you need as a Galinda in that first song. Like Kristen Chenoweth is a former opera singer. Like when she went to OCU, she sang opera. Like she studied opera the entire time. She transitions to musical theater on a whim. Is my understanding. She auditioned for, I think, was it Candide? Like.
Totally, yeah.
I don't know if she did that during school or just after.
I thought it was after because Glitter and Be Gay is like her big
Yeah.
thing. But
they're talking about Kristen Chenoweth how we talk about Tom Cruise.
Yeah, dude. They are talking ball right now.
Yeah.
They are Timothy Chalamet on College Game Day.
I was literally about to say.
but like, so like Kristen has this depth of like tone on these high notes. And I will say Ariana also pitched up in No One Mourns the Wicked.
Which
That
I noticed and I was like, oh, I literally like viscerally reacted and was like,
I actively thought that was a bad choice because she
I was
sounds
like,
so hollow and weak.
I just
But,
didn't
like,
understand why.
it
But I
doesn't
was
make
like,
sense.
I'm willing to be talked into, like, I'm willing to be convinced that
I
this was like
also
for a reason.
She said she worked with a vocal coach who did opera, and I was like, then why is your mouth like this? Like, why are you like? And you can't see me because this is a podcasting medium, but like, I'm opening my mouth like this much, like a centimeter. Like, her mouth doesn't drop the way it needs to
Mhm.
get the like sound you need. And in No One Mourns the Wicked, I think it's actually important to have that sound because you're showing vocally how Glinda grows. So like that silliness and cuteness that I think she nails in Popular isn't balanced with something more mature and like hardened in some ways. And I think that was something I was disappointed in. I wish they had just I think she has it in her.
Oh,
She just also
absolutely.
hasn't studied opera for decades of her life. Like she's been doing pop music and whistle tones require way less weight to your voice. Pop singing in general requires way less weight. So it's like it just sounded really hollow to me. But like that's me being really nitpicky and probably unfair. But I just
Mhm.
didn't get why they did the opt up when she didn't. I don't think it sounded very strong.
Kat, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much agree across the board. I came into this also being like an Ariana like believer. I was like, no, like I actually have very high hopes for her and like have a lot of faith in what she's gonna do here. And she still managed to exceed those expectations actually for me.
Agreed.
Yeah, like there was still that tiny seed of doubt somewhere in the back of my mind that was like, okay, but like what if she doesn't? What if she's terrible? I will say I think that like I think there are moments that she could have gone bigger, but I'm glad that she didn't actually. Cause I think that some of the like takes on Glinda that you'll see on like Broadway and stuff like that, like are like too much. Like it's just too much. And then if she had done that like on a film, it would have been like unhinged, like just way too much and like doing too much, and it wouldn't have been funny anymore, I think.
Yeah.
And so like I think she rode the line really well of like being this like a caricature basically, but still like not going too far because I don't know. I think it's really really easy for them to take it too far, and I've seen some take it too far Glindas where you just kind of want to be like, okay, can we be done now?
Are you at all worried about how she's going to balance that out with like, so No One Mourns is normally done very seriously.
Yeah.
Also, why I was surprised they were throwing jokes in there. That's not normally how this one plays, but like fine, fun, flirty. But like normally you have that classical tone because in some ways it's like this deeply serious song. And she has a song that's similarly serious in Act 2. Yeah, which now is slipping my mind on Not Good News. It's oh what a celebration.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, thank goodness. And like I'm curious how she's gonna play that because normally like you play in extremes with Glinda a little bit. Are you at all concerned about how that part of things is gonna go?
I am not, because I think she'll be able to nail that like, because I think that it's like in those moments it's like she's very much like purposely putting up like a fake front for like the public, right? And so she is being like a caricature of a caricature almost. And so I think that she'll be able to do that.
On that note, how does well, let's talk about Cynthia Erivo because obviously she's the star. She's on camera most of the movie, or her character Elphaba is on camera for most of the movie. And she has the big defining number that's probably going to get nominated for an Oscar on its own at the end of the movie. She is, I mean, genuinely stunning at the very end of the movie, and it nearly made me I got a little blurry eyed. I was like, okay. I'm feeling things. I'm feeling things at the cinema. But,
I was openly weeping
yeah,
at that
You were
point.
holding space for
I was holding space, whatever
Fucking
that
gravity.
fucking clip meant.
For the beauties, no one knew what it meant.
I was gonna say, did you see that they don't know what that meant either? Ariana was like, I was just like, I don't know.
It's fantastic.
And that's why she holds her finger and keeps tapping. She's like
What has happened? Please help save me. We're drowning here. No, I think that she's fantastic. She's probably going to get nominated. Just where I think they could do a little category fraud and get Ariana Grande nominated for Best Supporting Actress too, a little bit if they wanted to. But and this is also weird because we're looking at a part one of a two-parter, and they chose not to award anything from Dune because Dune Part 2 was coming out. This is going to make $1 billion, but it still feels like there is a push to get Cynthia nominated, which granted, I will give it she probably needs to get nominated. Will she win over Honora and Mikey Madsen? Probably not, but who's to say?
And I mean, honestly, like of the two women, and I adore Cynthia, I think Ariana would deserve an Oscar more than she would for this movie.
Too.
I
I'm
think
there.
that they're going to push really, really hard for this movie to win all of the awards because they're very aware that Act 2 is just not as strong.
But I will say, like, if you're gonna award Ariana for one, I think Linda's arc in Act 2 is much stronger.
True.
And I think weirdly you could give it to Cynthia now because Elphaba has fucking
True.
and you can
And that's how they're gonna game the system to get both their girls a leading woman Oscar.
I'm like, Glinda has like a really huge arc in Act 2. And I think like if Ariana kills it, then I think she deserves it now. But I think like you need to nominate Cynthia.
If they really want to game the system. Yeah.
I think this ends with them both being nominated.
And no one winning.
Ariana for supporting and Cynthia for lead. It feels like nobody is beating Mikey Madsen for Honora. Like she has that locked up, basically has for
I'll
months.
take those. Speaking of annoying interviews, Mikey Maddox keeps the person we knew in high school. Mikey Madison keeps annoying me in interviews, but I still love her. But like her interview style is very strange. She's like, "I'm from California." I'm like, okay.
Yeah, we got that much.
What's the tea on the supporting actress race at the moment?
There is a lot of for that movie with Dex that we said wasn't a real movie that was coming out
Amelia
on that.
Perez.
Amelia Perez. Yeah.
You mean the best musical that was made this year?
Is that a
Wait,
musical?
that's a musical?
Yeah.
What?
I haven't seen it yet. I've only watched the musical numbers from it. Yeah.
I had no idea that was a musical.
Me either.
Oh, it has one of the most. Y'all need to we need to watch it then reconvene because it has one of the most unhinged musical numbers I've ever
We will
seen.
do that.
And
We
I
will
had
have you
no
back on.
context watching the video, so like I'm very curious to see the full thing. But I was like, that's probably going to be a like.
That makes
Christmas
sense why
break
we
project.
why we have Selena in there as well too. I was like, Selena Gomez is in there. I don't know if she'll be nominated, but I think what's her face? She's in Teach's favorite show right now.
Zoe Saldana.
Zoe Saldana's in that. I think she's getting some buzz for Best Supporting Actress. I believe
I thought she was the lead.
I think she is, and there might be another actress in there who's getting love for supporting.
let's see. Somebody in The Brutalist is also getting. I could just pull up Gold Derby, but I'm doing this off the top of my head. Felicity
Angelina
Jones.
Jolie, supporting or lead? I know
Felicity
she's
Jones for
getting
what?
Felicity Jones.
The Brutalist.
Oh, I haven't
Right.
seen it.
Felicity
I don't
Jones
know
is
if I've
in the
heard of
is in The Brutalist. I mean, nobody has. It's not a real movie again.
Oh, the Adrian Brody one. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, it's not out yet. And it has an intermission in it, which is an interesting choice.
Hell yeah, bring back intermissions. Let's do it.
It's like Gone with the Wind. Let's say it for 6 hours. And like, here's the thing that scares me because like Scorsese's already going long. Like, if you start making intermissions a thing, is he gonna start making us do like?
That's going to be his invitation to like, yeah.
The intermission is just going to be him reading from the book that he's adapting in every movie.
Oh no.
The intermission can be montages of like the TikToks that his daughter is making. You can just play those on an endless loop.
What a picture. But I did want to get your take on in the same way. What is her performance like compared to? I mean, it's tough to compare to Adele Dazeem's.
It's
The
very
wickedly
Very
talented
different.
Adele Dazeem.
Wickedly talented.
Yeah, I've heard it's different.
I said that joke to someone, Adele Dazeem, and they were like, "Her name's Idina Menzel," and I was like, "Why are you so young?"
Oh,
Law school. They were like, "Idina Menzel," and I was like, "I'm not actually brain dead." Like,
Get cultured, kid.
I know I'm just old. Yeah, it's just very different. Man, we need to chill out on the riffs. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, holy fuck. With every new adaptation of Wicked, as in like every time a new performer plays Elphaba, they
there's
add
new riff.
5 riffs.
Yeah.
Like, and now we're like at this like place where we're riffing on not that girl now. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, Defying Gravity should have lots of riffing. Like, that's correct. But like,
I was more okay with it in I'm Not That Girl than I was in The Wizard and I.
The Wizard and I is a foul. That is foul. The
Oh,
fact
God.
that, like, I did not like any of that riffing. I was like, it's an I Want song. It should be like honest and like less decorative. Like, I don't know.
I don't know if it was because I think like I didn't love The Wizard and I as much as maybe I hoped that I would, but I chalk most of why I think that I didn't like it as much up to just like the staging.
I was gonna say the cinematography.
The staging felt weird. Cinematography felt a little weird. I don't know. Like
Her
it was like I
running
couldn't
into,
tell
like,
you why.
Brown nothingness didn't
Yeah.
do it for you.
She was running in the gladiator field. That's
Gladiator, which is also a musical.
Yeah, according to SNL
according
now.
to SNL, yeah.
The Glicked craze is something we haven't talked about a little bit. Or
Because
is
it's
it-
not real.
Because it's exactly.
It's not a thing.
Because stop trying to make Glicked happen. It's not going to happen.
Um,
It didn't happen.
But, like,
yeah,
Cynthia's like performance is very serious for a character that like can be really funny.
Yeah.
And I thought that was strange. I don't know, Kat. Like, you've actually seen Wicked more recently than I have. I saw it when I was 6 and when I was 12.
I heard that that Elphaba on Broadway, she's like way more knowing in her character, or way more like self-assured. Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I would say, but then also,
Or
like, I didn't
playful
feel like
at the
Cynthia
very
wasn't-
least.
Playful, I would absolutely say.
That's
she's
what I was
more
saying.
playful.
It's
Yes,
a much
yes.
lighter character. And
Yeah.
like, I get like, again, they were way more heavy-handed with the fascism, like in the adaptation. Like this, I mean, it's there in the musical, but I don't feel like you're sitting around going like,
You're not attending Animal Secret Union meetings.
you're not feeling like you're in the Weimar Republic. Like you don't feel like you're like watching Cabaret also. Like, but yeah, I don't know. So I think that was maybe a tonal choice, like in relation to that messaging being brought more forward. I don't know if I liked it.
Yeah, because the moments where she does let out some of that, like, kind of like snarky, like dry humor, like I really, really liked those, and I really, really liked Cynthia's approach to those moments. So I just wish I could have seen some more of those moments.
I also think, and this is going to sound so mean because I think like both of them were so phenomenal. And like we would also then have to uncast Jonathan Bailey if I say the thing I'm about to say. I do think they're a little old. And
Everyone
bring
is old.
this up.
Everyone in this whole
Jonathan
thing
Bailey
cool.
is the most 38-year-old
Yeah.
that has ever.
Yeah.
This, I guess it doesn't matter because it's not a real place. But they're at university and it's like 38-year-old face Jonathan Bailey is like, he's got bags under your eyes, brother. Like you're real hot,
Did you
but
see
like
all the memes about like Ben Platt upon seeing the Wicked cast? And it's like someone losing their mind.
Like I think like in a weird way we would have gotten a lighter Elphaba if we had a younger Elphaba. Here's the thing, Ariana also looks 20, so we probably could have kept her. But like
Yeah.
everyone else we have to get rid of.
yeah, I mean Cynthia Erivo's 37, Jonathan Bailey I believe is 38. Like I mean Ariana Grande for as young as she looks is 32 years old. Like it's
Also, the problem though, the children can't sing anymore. Like,
True
know,
facts.
That's
True
true.
facts.
yeah, like it's tough.
They can
you
TikTok
know?
sing. Yeah. Yeah. No,
Well,
it's,
but like
it's true.
we're only teaching kids how to fucking riff. Like, that's like, I'm angry about it. Like, everyone knows how to riff, but like, no one knows how to just like sing a note and like let it happen. Like, we're like, and I will give Cynthia, like, she can let a note just hang, and like, there's real talent. I think that was a music direction thing, not a thing about Cynthia. Like, I think music direction should have got her back a little, but she did everything she was supposed to do. Like
I honestly, no notes on Defying Gravity.
Oh, Defying Gravity, perfect.
Like and we all know that's where she really needs to nail it and drive it home, and she absolutely did. And I think that they knew that. They were like, honestly, the rest of this, it needs to be fine.
I love The Wizard and I, and so I just like came out being like, oh, this song was a bummer now. And then
I was worried because that is the moment where you're actually supposed to fall in love with her, and it's secretly a more important song structurally to the show than Defying Gravity is.
It's also hard. Like
it is also much harder. So I was a little worried about that. But you know what? It's fine because
I like the way that Wizard and I sounded. Why does it look like that?
Why did it look like that?
And my thing was, it was like I couldn't even 100% put my finger on like what specifically was like wrong to me about it, but I just didn't.
Well, it wasn't a real place.
So why is she running into this empty brown field of nothing? It like.
I was gonna say, it just feels too big, weirdly, for this like the screen. Like you're watching it and you're like, there must be like a space. Like this doesn't feel like a space.
Why are there no things here?
Yeah. Especially when there's so much everywhere else. Like maybe that's what it was. Yeah. But even in the parts where she's inside Shiz University and like there is a lot else going on, I didn't like that either. So I don't know what it is.
You know what I think it actually is? Is
it because in the stage show all they have her do is park and bark?
Well, that's what I was about to say. You know what I think? Because I actually had the same issue with this as I did with I'm Not That Girl, because I thought that was weirdly staged. And I'm now realizing, can John Chu just
John Chu does it? Yes.
Can he just not do
this?
Like,
you know what they needed to do? You know how they could have fixed this is John Chu absolutely stay in charge of all of the big numbers. What's his face? Christopher Scott, the one who who importantly choreographed one of the greatest movie musicals of all time, Teen Beach Movie. Also,
Talk about it.
Exactly. Like if you need further proof that this guy like knows how to choreograph like a big group number specifically for the camera, like he just no notes, chef's kiss, like perfect. But I think he should have called in Lin-Manuel Miranda for the intimate, like more like it's just one person, like because I don't think he knows what to do with smaller, more intimate moments. But you know who does is Lin in Tick Tick Boom. So like
because like the most saturated it gets weirdly, and like it gives it a glossy kind of music video vibe during I'm Not That Girl, and you're like, I feel so distant.
I had that exact thought. I feel like they filmed this as a music video and spliced it into the movie.
We need to call in the heavy hitters. Damien Chazelle, get in here.
Yeah, run it.
I feel like even Damien Chazelle excels more in the like bigger numbers than in the intimate ones, and I know that that's not correct, but that's my personal feeling about it. Because I think the best parts of La La Land are the big moments, the big numbers.
The best part of La La Land is literally the first. Like,
you're right. The opening number,
the dresses on the highway. Yeah, exactly.
So I don't have. I mean, what is our favorite besides the two mega songs, Popular and Defying Gravity? What is y'all's favorite musical number? Because mine ends up being actually One Short Day, which we haven't talked about. Idina Menzel and Kristen Chenoweth.
That was so adorable.
That was so cute.
Which
there is a
little Marvelification of this movie.
Oh,
there is a little MCUification.
A lot.
They did it right though, because like it's one of those things where like I was sitting in the theater opening night, right, and everyone there is like a big Wicked fan or whatever. So like everyone knew obviously who those people were, and everyone cheered.
Yeah,
like, you know,
clapping.
Everyone was like, "Oh,
cheered for the Stephen Schwartz cameo when he says the wizard will see you now." Which somebody at work was like saying this the other day. They were like, "My hot take," and I'm just gonna say it: Steven Shorts kind of phoned it in on his line. And I was like, I mean, you're kind of not wrong.
Wait,
I'm
which was his?
when he the guard that like comes out the door and he's like, the wizard will see you now.
Oh, okay. All
Yeah,
right.
that's him. That's
I had
him.
no
Winnie
idea.
Holzman also has a cameo in there, but I don't remember which
Who?
witch he does. Winnie Holzman.
Is she in One Short Day? I feel like
Mhm, mhm.
everyone got
That's where they threw all the cameos. in,
Isn't
yeah,
she
yeah.
the one that they're talking to where she's like, I can't believe that like the with like blah blah blah. Like I forget what the line is, but she's talking about like the grimoire.
Grimoire.
Yeah, yeah,
Grimoire. The actual thing.
the actual, yeah.
The grimoire. I think like she has a line right in there.
Yes,
she's,
but I
like,
don't remember
very-
what it is.
She looks
Yeah.
like a Harry Potter character in some ways, like as a human.
This is what I'm talking about, though. This is why I say they did it right, because like I have no idea who those people are, and like not distracting at all. Like their cameos, you know. There's some.
I mean, the
movies where it's
Chenoweth
like-
one, the Chenoweth and Nadina Menzel one, I was like, okay, this is like Thor Ragnarok level of
It was
cameo.
extremely fan servicey, but
Yeah.
I didn't mind it, especially because like so in the stage show, like there that whole bit is like not part of the song. They added all of that in, which like probably adds some needed context because all of that description and backstory about like what the grimoire is and like how it works is like not in the show. You're just supposed to like figure that out and intuit that information.
Listening
it's
back to
like,
it,
oh.
I was really grateful that was in there because I would have been like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah.
Well, this is our MacGuffin. And
Yeah.
stuff.
So, do y'all have a favorite tune?
Dancing Through Life. And it's
Okay.
not close.
Yeah, if I can't say popular defying gravity, then I would go with Dancing Through Life.
You know what though? I think constantly about the choreo and what is this feeling?
And what is this feeling? I know.
Yeah.
What is this feeling? Is
It's hard not to, given that it's literally
Also-
like a TikTok dance now.
I like Roman Empire is randomly just Ariana's ad-libbed O. I think about it all the time and I don't know why, but like I think it's a stroke of genius. I can't really explain it.
No, that's valid. That's valid.
But like she has a couple moments like that where I'm like, that's the most character I've ever seen in a film. Like,
My favorite thing that she does is when she's so exasperated and she goes and falls and like dies on her bed and she just and like just like dies on her bed. I was laughing out loud in the
then she
theater.
like looks back up.
Yeah.
She's like, did you see me?
Relatable.
I'm dying.
her right in popular, I think like changed the world. Like her going right. Beautiful. I guess I'll say what is this feeling just to be different, but
Nice.
that's I think through life.
All right, so unless we probably could talk about this movie for 2 more hours. It's already 11:30 on the East Coast right now. But I will do this because we asked Tej. Tej couldn't be on the show today. Normally he is with us every episode, and he took his niece to see this movie and wanted to talk about it really badly. But he sent us a voice recording,
Oh my god.
and so I will. I'll play that. I'll cut it in here. We're gonna all act at the very end of this like we all heard it. So cut, and that was Tej with his takes. I really hate what he had to say about Joe Biden in that.
You know, I feel like Teach recorded that. He was in a dark place. You know, Texas just lost the SEC championship. And, you know, that really seeped into his commentary here. You know, Texas are a bunch of frauds who lost to limp noodle arm Carson Beck, and you know that affected the way Teach feels about the movie.
I am worried that he might be one of those people that like watched the movie and went like, yeah, Donald Trump is Elphaba.
Yeah, I'm
Like-
frankly not sure we all watched the same movie, but like to each their own. Everyone's entitled to their own wrong opinions, you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So Tej, thank you so much for sending that in. I'll be sure to splice that recording in. But so yeah, he'll talk about it more when we get him back on. But normally when we have guests on, we talk about what we've been watching and what we are watching.
Yeah.
And a lot of the times Kate has come on here and said nothing at all. And Kate, I need you to come with some heat. What are you watching?
Like, What do you mean? What am I watching?
You know, the things that you watch with your eyes on the television.
I'm in the middle of final exams, so I'm just having things run in the background constantly.
Wait, so what's your background watching of choice though?
So right now it's Monk because I don't have
Oh.
to think. I did rewatch all of The Handmaid's Tale.
Oh,
And right after
seems
the election,
appropriate.
Everything is
I
about
was
the
about to say
election.
also about the election.
I went real bleak. And then I think I watched Rivals, which is on Disney Plus. Very sexy. Has David Tennant in it. Very hot. Makes no sense. But
I've
like
heard about this actually.
I watched it while I was outlining for exams and I felt really weirdly horny the entire time. So like I do recommend. That's why I've been
Like
watching.
related to the David Tennant of it all, or completely
No, so
separate?
David Tennant's not hot in it. So David
Okay.
Tennant's like actually disgusting in it.
Oh, great,
But
great,
there's
great.
this other guy whose like name is literally like Lord Baddington or something like that.
Iconic. No notes.
Like it's something like that. And like he's very good. Like that's
Okay.
it's just very good. I don't know.
Rivals it is on Disney Plus. Yeah, TVMA on Disney Plus. I love that they're just like they've grown past the need for Hulu now.
Oh no.
Yeah. So
What the
anyway,
my cat just hit my ass. Oh my god, that was horrifying.
Are you sure?
Sorry.
Kat, what are you watching?
Unfortunately, no movies lately. This was what dragged me back to the theater, but
Unbelievable.
I know, I'm sorry. I just finished watching season 2 of Arcane on Netflix, which is a
Nice.
absolutely god tier show. It is phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, go watch it immediately. Don't let the League of Legends of it all put you off. It is some of the best storytelling and definitely the best animation of any series, like in the last decade.
Watch the first 5 episodes of that, I believe, and it was like really well done. And I put it like everything else, I put it down, but it was unbelievable to look at.
Pick it back up. Pick it back up. I promise you, it's worth it. It's so good. And also trying to catch up on some of the like popular anime that's out right now.
Yeah.
I realize it sounds like I only watch things that are animated, but I guess that's just the kick I'm on right now.
No, it's
So
okay. You're a little-
I am simultaneously watching Dandadan and Jujutsu Kaisen and seeing what's up there. I'm enjoying it so far, but we'll see.
Also related to anime, I got into a kick where I rewatched all of Full Metal Alchemist somewhere in here, and there is a new anime movie thing that was on Netflix that I watched on a whim, and now I'm trying to remember what it's called. But like, it's like not
Like
Momo.
related to FMA or not? Like,
Love, Death, and Robots. Like what?
oh, Love, Death, and Robots is so
Um,
good.
Anime.
We're supposed to get
movie.
another season of that soon, right?
I believe so. There's also like
I
a
thought we were supposed to get it this year, actually, and I'm
There-
realizing now I don't think that happened.
there's also like a video game animated sort of anthology series that's on Prime right now that people have been talking about. Keanu Reeves is in it. I forget what it's called.
Oh, what is it called? I know what you're talking
Is
about,
it
but I can't
called
remember
like
what it's called.
Next Level or something?
I think you're
Something
right.
like that.
Yeah.
The anime movie I'm thinking of is called Mononoke, the movie, and it is one of the most like breakneck like pace movies I've seen in a really long time. Very good, but I had to watch it twice because
That comes up on like the whatever, like on the homepage where they like try to get you to watch stuff. Like,
it's also only like an hour and 20 minutes. Like watch it. Like
It's called Secret Level, by the way, and it comes
Secret Level.
out in 2 days. Anyway,
oh.
Dex, what are you watching?
Honestly, just Wicked.
every
like-
night you go back to the theater.
Yeah, Wicked and a bunch of YouTube videos. Watched the UFC fights last night. That was fun. Not watching the Houston Texans, thank God. Don't need that in my life this week. I will be watching your Baylor Bears in the Texas Bowl here in
Sicko.
H-Town.
Look at that.
We out here. Yeah, but yeah, movie wise, pretty much just Wicked. Interstellar, I rewatched. I think I talked about that last time we did the pod. I
Yeah.
don't remember, but yeah, I am now Interstellar Hive. I'm back. I was wrong. I used to say it sucks. Now I think it's good.
Interstellar, the 20th anniversary of it was, I mean, or not the 20th, 10th. Oh God,
Yes,
Jesus.
I could have killed myself.
Yeah, that would have been horrendous. Yeah, the 10th anniversary of it was this week, I believe, and so they or it's this year, but they re-released it in IMAX this week, and I wanted to see it so bad, I almost took a trip to Austin to go to watch it in the IMAX theater down there, but I couldn't convince myself to go and actually do that.
Yeah, it ain't that good.
Yeah,
it's good. It ain't that good.
Right. I have watched a few movies that I've been staying up way too late to watch. Legends of the Fall, a Brad Pitt classic from the 1990s, and that movie really popular. What a piece of shit! Holy shit!
I've actually never seen it. I've
same.
heard of it, but
Same.
like,
I mean, just like anything else, Brad Pitt is impossibly hot in it. I mean, he's so hot, and you're just like, you're watching it, and you're like, I don't know if anybody besides, in Fight Club has looked this good. And then in the movie doesn't make sense, so it ruins all good lookingness of Brad Pitt. All the aura that Brad Pitt has is thrown out the window when the movie comes to a screeching halt. And I'll just let you watch it if you want to waste 2 hours. But that 3:10 to Yuma, the remake with Christian Bale.
Yep.
Yeah, it's very, very good. Written by 2 Baylor grads, by the way.
Oh yeah, I always
Shout
forget
out.
that.
Yeah, they remade it, and they are now responsible for all of like the Chicago fires and Chicago PD.
oh, those guys.
Yeah, Derek Brandt, I believe, or Derek Haas and
Oh my
Michael
God.
Brandt. Yeah.
I forgot there's a show called Chicago Fire.
Yeah.
Oh, you thought they were literally
Just setting fire in
Like,
Chicago.
like,
No, the Great Chicago Fire of 19.
I was like, are they like Mrs. O'Malley's fucking cow? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck is going on?
Yeah, they burned down the syrup factory or whatever the fuck that was in Boston.
Oh my god.
I was like, where are we?
No, there's a show called Chicago Fire,
No,
like
I know.
fire department.
There's a part of my brain that knows that's true. I just
It took a minute.
yeah, I wasn't there.
That's funny. So yeah, I didn't watch Chicago Fire, by the way. I haven't seen an episode of that show. But yeah, and then we watched Shrinking. I'm trying to get back into Andor because I've heard it's great, and I just cannot push myself to watch anything Star Wars because I kind of don't give a shit anymore, guys.
That is exactly where I am with Andor because I've heard it's like elite TV and
Yeah.
I love to stare at Diego Luna's face, but like I just cannot bring myself to watch it. But I just hear that it's excellent. So like
And it's been good. Every episode that I've watched is good, but I'm watching I'm at a episode a month clip. Like I don't fucking care, man.
I think I'm out on Disney Plus shows for movie universes. I'm good, actually. I don't think we need to do this anymore. This experiment has failed. We can stop. I'll be back in the theater when y'all make a Star Wars movie. Until then, shut up.
I'm glad to know.
I get you on the like an episode a month pace though, because I'm still making my way through Pre-Body Problem, and it's been like 10
That show's been out
months now,
forever.
yeah.
You are the only person that I've heard mention still wanting to watch that
It's
show.
pretty good. I don't know what happens at the end, but it's still pretty good.
I want to
feel
read the
like-
book first.
I feel like there was a weekend where everyone was like, "Oh, 3-Body Problem. I'm going to watch that," and then no one ever talked about it again.
I think it's good. I can't motivate myself, and it's like science,
That's a Benioff and Weiss show too, right?
maybe.
I
Yeah,
believe-
sure it is. And I've like decided they're unserious people who don't deserve my time. So like,
What?
you know,
What was it? Was it the last season of Game of Thrones, or was it the Civil War thing they wanted to make?
it was them making the last season of Game of Thrones shitty because they want to do their Civil War thing. Like, it's okay if you make the Civil War thing, but like Game of Thrones can't be shitty as a result. And then
Well, they wanted to do the Civil War thing. I'll tell you what they wanted to do, bringing it all the way back. They wanted to do a Star Wars movie, and the last season of Game of Thrones was so shit that Kathleen Kennedy said no, thank you, and fired.
actually no.
Yeah.
Tea.
So that is kind of what happened. It was so bad that they were like toxic. They were like, actually, no thanks. So they didn't even get to make their Star Wars movie, or that whatever that Civil War reversed engineered show was supposed to be.
Confederacy or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
What?
Y'all didn't hear about this?
No.
They tried to make a show like, what if the South had won the Civil War or whatever, and
Hell,
everyone was like, actually, no, we're not doing that.
Yeah.
Like, no, we're gonna put a stop to that right now. And so the show never got made.
I think I know what would have happened. Like, it would have just been like more of the thing that was happening. Like, I don't. That's not as interesting of a thought experiment as like, what if like the U.S. lost World War II? Like that at least was like,
Yeah.
in the High Castle had like an actually interesting like
Yeah.
concept.
Basically, they're like, what if slaves? And everyone was like,
And it might have been like 2020, like that they tried to do this. So everyone was
Yes.
like extra
Wait, that's
woke.
what it was. That's what it was. Yes.
Everyone was extra woke for like 6 months or whatever, and so we were like, no, like we're
Yeah,
not
before
doing
all the corporations rolled back their DEI initiatives.
that.
But that's actually in the interest of real diversity, which is diversity of white men thinking.
Mhm,
And
mhm, mhm.
I apologize for having thoughts. I shall move us on from this conversation if you'll allow me.
yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, then, all right. Bye.
Stop thinking.
I will stop. Wicked good movie. Podcast done. Anyway, thank y'all so much for coming on. Where can we find y'all? Y'all still doing y'all's live streams?
Sometimes
Sometimes
Oh, what
we're
did
so
it?
busy. We're so busy.
Oh, okay.
Life is hard.
it's not
Yeah.
canceled. Like we will continue.
Yes. We'll get back at it eventually.
Just
We've
gonna
been on a bit of a hiatus at the moment for scheduling purposes, but we will be back at it hopefully soon.
Probably in the new year.
That feels
Uh,
good. Yeah.
That does feel right. I appreciate y'all keeping that up, and thank y'all for coming on as usual when we're talking about musicals or we're talking about hot takes that we need to get off our chest about The Dark Knight and so on and so forth. We will have y'all back on for what was it, Vicky Cristina Barcelona or whatever that movie was. Amelia Perez.
I was like, what the fuck?
I was like,
I mean, hey, if you want me to come back for that one, sure.
Javier Bardem in that.
He is, yeah, and so is
What's
Oh.
her face?
Cruz, Penelope
Penelope
Cruz.
Cruz, yeah.
I mean,
Basi-
I'll talk about Javier Bardem.
Yeah.
And
Basically,
no one else in the movie.
I'm not interested in anyone else. Make me come on for No Country, and I'll just tell you about Javier Bardem.
it's basically a throuple between Javier Bardem, Penelope Cruz, and Scarlett Johansson.
Barjo, yep.
If I remember correctly, and they got nominated for Oscars for it. So that's awesome.
They did.
Oh yeah, I
Instead of
believe so.
things that, like we're trying to fucking theaters. Like this is like what Pee Wee Herman's like big agenda is. Like, bring it back.
Oh my
I think he's
God.
dead, but from the grave, he's like, "Let me have this," and by this I mean
Porn.
Jorking it.
Jorking in the theater.
Penelope Cruz won an Oscar for that movie for Best
That's
Supporting Actress.
crazy.
What?
Good for
Yeah.
her.
Nobody else was nominated, but she did. She
Huh.
did win one. Anyway, that's been Oscars trivia. Thank you so much for watching, downloading, liking, subscribing. We will be back with I don't know what the fuck is even going to be in theaters anymore. Like the schedule is so weird. We're not going to do Moana 2. Apparently that movie stinks and is bad, so I'm not going to.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, I cannot be bothered with that. But considering how much I love the first movie, the fact that they made what was supposed to be a television series and smushed it together to be a movie, that sucks and is bad. Thanks. We're gonna not do that. So
Well, surely they'll redeem themselves with Moana, the live action version, right?
What?
those set photos look cursed.
Did you not know
actually
that this is happening, Kate? Oh, she is well into production at this point. Yeah.
Is Ali in it?
No, she's too old.
But The Rock
well,
is.
Looks 12.
Right.
Like in a good way. Like
I
I think
think
she's one of the most talented people.
I
Well,
want to
nice.
say like she is maybe like co-producing or something though, potentially. Am I crazy?
Genuinely, besides
Because I
Renee
think The Rock is co-producing.
the fuck him. But like aside from Renee Rapp, the most talented person in Mean Girls. So like
First that you were talking about The Rock still, and I was like, The Rock, Renee Rapp. Never expected to hear those names in the same sentence.
Rock
But
and
here
rock
we
are
are.
like similar words to me. So,
Yeah. So yeah, Moana 2 2026. Look out for that. Or
Okay.
Moana, the live action, rather. Yeah, anyway, we will tell y'all. We'll probably tweet out what movie we're gonna do or whatever. But this
Probably one of the Oscar-y ones, if I had
Yeah.
to take a guess.
again, we'll have y'all back on for Amelia Perez, actually. I really do want to do
Yes.
that. All right. Thanks again for coming on. Dex, what are we always doing and what will we continue to do, if I could speak?
We will always support Florence Pugh. The Oscar campaign this year, it's probably not going to work out, but we'll be back soon.
Did y'all see We Live in Time?
I
Nor
still haven't. I do want
Oh.
to though.
I hate her wig in that.
I think she shaved her head.
Yeah,
She-
she did shave her head for that.
She shaved her head, but then like they put her in a wig for like the earlier shots. Or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that, and you can tell it's a wig,
Oh.
like because I guess she shaved it. I think before they started filming.
I feel like I've said this before, but like shaving her head for a role seems to be like her go-to move.
Her
and
thing, yeah.
knock it off. We get it.
She just doesn't want to have hair, and she's like, "I'm totally doing this for the role.
For the role.
I just don't want to have hair. It's fine."
It's fine. Be bald if you want to be bald. But anyway, as we always say, you don't have to do that. But all right. That has been a One Take podcast, and we